what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well, good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media stream via Facebook or YouTube, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Do you hear the excitement in my voice? Listen. I know you all just heard the presentations by Ursula Cook and Sonia Sanchez with our CEO Sarah Lomax Reese and Kai Davis, but Ursula Burns, I'm sorry, I said Cook. Ursula Burns. Let me just tell you how at 2 o'clock we were supposed to have Janine Cook on from Harriet. So I'm hoping against all hope that she will pick up the phone and call. And I have on the line with me these fabulous women, and we will also be joined by another one. This is going to be a hot show. It is a day of healing. For us, it is the first year of the anniversary of George Floyd's killing. I spent my morning talking to police officers. I just want you to know, I got off the bike trail. At 9 o'clock, I was on a phone call with them. At 10 o'clock, I was having a whole commission meeting around police officers and working with them. And as at the same time, trying to talk about all the healing that we have had to go through as a people. And so today, these phenomenal women are going to join me in a conversation around all of this. To my WURD listeners, let me say thank you. Thank you for holding me up in this last year. Thank you for being the fodder, the feeding ground for me to have these conversations when I get off my bicycle or when hiking 10 miles on a Sunday or riding 100 miles a week. It was so bad in this country. I was going to all the events, all the protests in the city, and I was literally riding my bicycle 100 miles a week to keep my sanity. And even that didn't work sometimes because I would fall out and crumple in the heat and just start to cry. So thank you, all of you, for keeping the light on in terms of making sure my soul was okay when I got on here every single day. Bless you. We may not be able to talk a lot, all of us, but on Thursday I have space open for all of you to call. So just kind of absorb what you're about to hear from these phenomenal women. Denise James is a communications executive with strong multimedia content creation, messaging, and crisis management experience. Strategically focused, community-minded, equity-driven communications, multimedia leader, coach, and teacher. She is one of my mentors. Sarita Scott is the founder of Duafe Holistic Hair Salon, which has been ruling Philly's natural hair scene since 2001, earning call-outs from Vogue and nabbing clients like Janet Jackson and Ava DuVernay in the process. You better go, Miss Scott. Kia Bradford Gray is a partner in Montgomery Kraken's litigation department. She concentrates her practice on white-collar and government investigations and criminal defense, and also leads the firm's executive leadership practice group. And if Miss Janine Cook is able to call in, let me just make sure. Michael is sending me a note because I'm telling you, we're going all in today. Yes, she's on the phone. For the last 10 years, Janine A. Cook has worked as a trusted writer for several startups, corporations, nonprofits, influencers, and most recently herself. If you don't know who she is the bad sister that started Harriet's Bookstore, the bad sister that made me buy a pair of high tops, honey, to to support the fundraiser that they're having. Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Doing well. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having us on here in this conversation, in this circle, you know?
I am a black woman that loves my sisters, right? It comes from my pores. Miss Cook, are you there?
I am here. Yes, ma'am.
Woohoo! I wish I could see you. I wish I could see
I love
you.
everything. I love what you're talking. You know, sisterhood. I tell everybody, sisterhood gonna change the world.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. One of the things that happened in this last year, and I mean, I was doing it before that, was that I fully transformed into supporting nothing but black-owned business. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I wear your T-shirts. I talk about your books. I talk about what you do for a living. I love you all with every fiber of my being. And so today, I want you to lift up what went through your heads in your respective professions as this thing was going on with George Floyd killing and the raising and the rioting around the country and the people raising their voices, black, white, or other. And how did you find the space for healing? All of you. So I'm going to start with you, Ms. Cook, because you were supposed to be on at 2 o'clock, and I'm just loving Harriet's bookstores. Let's go.
Yes. So absolutely, what went through my mind was education. What always goes through my mind: how do we make sure that people have the education to sustain the energy? Because after everyone gets hyped and everybody's marching and everybody's screaming, right? That level of hypeness can't always be sustained. But what can be sustained, what will be sustained, is education and self liberation. And I know that comes through books. So what we did was we took to the streets. We've given out probably over 1,000 books at this point to organizers and activists, just to make sure that people have a knowledge of where things have started and where we want to go.
So you gave out books. Listen, I have spent more money. And you know the other thing we have been doing here on The Source, Ms. Cook, is that every time I had an author on here, I send them to the independently black-owned stores like you and Uncle Bobby's, and so that instead of sending it to Jeff Bezos, who's got more money than Jesus at this point.
So many people tell me that they came through you. So thank you so much.
Hey, shut up, Mo, because I'm telling you, Mother's not here to play in these Wakandan streets. I love my sisters. And then I saw that someone, Care is cracking up because she knows me well. Miss Scott, I know we have not had the pleasure, honey, but you need to come hang out with Mother. It is a whole mood.
I need all of this. I take it in. Yes, Lord. Ashe.
I am a whole mood. So we would send people to Harriet's bookstore. But Miss Cook, the other thing I noticed was that someone harassed you over this last year.
Yeah, a number of us were harassed, right? We were told some of the worst things that you could tell another human being, that they were going to rape us and maim us and stalk us. And, the part of the city that we just happen to be in is one that has a very sordid racial history and racial presence. And so those are the kind of threats that we don't take lightly.
Wow. Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, you go, sis. But you know what? The next time something like that happens, because, folk being who they are, some folks just can't help themselves, pick up the phone and call Mother. We will put them in this limelight in ways that they would never expect in these Wakandan streets. I am so grateful to have you. Hang on, let me get these other sisters. Sarita Scott. The Welfare Hair Salon. You want to talk about natural hair in these streets? Oh, hunty. Lorraine Henry talks about you all the time. I walk with her on Sundays. She tells me what a marvelous human being you are, how hard you have worked, and so I feel like I kind of know you. Tell me what you went through this last year, COVID, everything shutting down, George Floyd, and where did you find your spaces of healing?
Well, when George Floyd happened, my salon was closed. We were still in shutdown. And so for me, my form of activism was for me to take care of the people around me. The PPP didn't show up. I knew that my staff was not getting any kind of unemployment. So for me, I was making product, selling it wherever I could, making sure I took care of the people that was around me, making sure that they didn't have any worries, making sure that I reached in, tapped in to make sure that spirits was good, because we are in the business. If you don't work, you don't get paid. Yes. So for me, that's what I did for my inner core, to make sure my children was good, to make sure my mother was good. But outside of that, I tried to be as impactful as possible. I realized the importance of my business as it relates to self-care, as it relates to a space that they can go to heal, to tap back, to find some love, to be touched in places sometimes that they're not. So for me, it was really reaching out to clients. For me, it was making sure that when I posted something, it was to teach them a helpful hint of how to take care of themselves. For me, it was important that I brought some therapists that I knew on our social media, so they knew who they can reach to, women that look like them, that could help them through their emotional time. So I did everything that I could, and especially different spiritual modalities, introducing it to our community to allow for them to have another avenue. I'm a Reiki master, so to teach them how to do Reiki on themselves, to just let them know that there's spaces and places where they can heal. And sometimes it's supposed to start in the home.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I made a pact with my husband when all of this started happening. I said, I am about to walk into uncharted territories, going into these streets, trying to help people and to work with them and to talk to them all the time on the radio. And I begged him to keep our home a place of peace, and he did just that. Lord, I love that black man. Father God. So I understand finding the places of peace for us to do what we did. You did a lot. Oh my gosh. It's amazing how as sisters we take on so much, right? And it seems effortless, but I want folks to know that are watching this show that it is not that easy, you know? And so I'm telling my white friends, yep, I know you're listening. Shut up. So let me just speak to the white people that call us friends. I love you all dearly. Love you because you wouldn't be my friends if I didn't like you, right? But I'm going to ask you all, beyond putting a Black Lives Matter sign on your lawn, let's figure out, see that look you gave Miss Scott? That was my look. That was my whole look. Let's just figure out how to create allyship for sisters such as us. Create safe spaces. Send us a massage. You know, figure out a way for us to find deep spaces of wellness where it doesn't include us coming to you and teaching you how to treat us better. I said it. And in this day of healing, you want to help us heal? Please show up that way. Don't call us and say, can you help me understand why Black Lives Matter? That's not the way we heal. Don't put a Black Lives Matter sign on your lawn and say, you know, this is what we mean. So show up as allies. Be an agitator. Open your mouths and in your workspaces when you see things that are happening that are not fair. When you see us working our tail feathers off and yes, we're being maligned. When you see small black businesses trying to do the best that they can and people are showing up and maligning them, wanting to threaten to maim and rape them. Our peace of mind deserves it. I am going to take a quick break, and when I come back, Esha, I'm so excited. Can you hear my excitement? I've got the incomparable Denise James and Kier Bradford Gray getting ready to join us in this conversation. Hang on, Miss Janine. We'll be right back, all of you. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
The Philadelphia Salvation Army Croc Center, located at 4200 Wissahickon Avenue, 19129, is hosting a community job fair on Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Croc Center is partnering with area employers to showcase the variety of employment opportunities available as we return to normal. You belong here, doing the most good. Business casual. Bring your resume.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for June is Taught by Women, Poems as Resistance Language by Hakeem Adabudi. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, June 8th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and art organizations. Visit the portal right now to see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply today. Visit our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, this is a part of our National Day of Healing on WURD Radio. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. Today, our Source lineup started with Janine Cook from Harriet's Bookstore, Denise James, communications executive with, that has been a mentor of mine for I can't tell you how long, Sarita Scott, founder of Duwafe Holistic Hair Care and somebody that I always wanted to get to know, and Keir Bradford Gray, who is now a partner at Montgomery Cracken's litigation department. Sisters, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation again. When we were in commercial break, Denise said something to Sarita Scott that made sense. I am totally hyped today in this conversation because I talk to these sisters all the time. You want to know how I stay out of jail? I call these sisters.
Well, money.
Listen, I'll call them and I'll say something about to burn down. And one of them will say, Andrea, not today, baby girl. We could take you out of jail, and we got plenty of lawyers in our family where we can, defend you, but we need you on this side of the land, because folks will take you there. So that's why I'm so hyped, because I'm sharing all of you now with the audience, right? So Keir and Denise, what was this year like for the both of you, and how did you manage to make your way through it? How did you find your places of healing? Keir, I'm going to start with you, because I remember last summer, you and I and Denise, the other Denise, James, got in the car and we just took off and went to Virginia. 2 days, 48 hours, and we stopped in Washington, D.C., and we laid out on the Black Lives Matter sign. Remember that? It was the most cathartic thing. In the middle of a pandemic and all the craziness. So I know to a certain extent that we were wrapped up in some of the things because we worked together, and you stopped me from hurting people, So what has this year been like for you? That the listening audience know.
Yeah. I can tell you, I've experienced a lot of pain this year. I'm an empath, so I take on a lot of people's pain and sadness and sorrows. And so when I saw people losing their job, losing loved ones, just suffering in so many ways, and children really suffering from isolation, those types of things impact me. And I wish I could push it back out and not take it on, but I do. The work that I was involved in at the Defender Association, and people, squandering in jail for long periods of time that, may be innocent, may have issues. All of those things really, really hurt. But I'll tell you what's really been something that I'm still wrestling with is the fact that we are in a civil rights moment for a real reason. And some of the things that I see people who are pushing back on the great things that can come out of this moment it's not, for me, it's less optimistic that we are going to get the type of white allyship that we are looking for, because people are looking at, well, if they get, then it's going to be less for me. Instead of looking at this in terms of there is so much more pie to generate, to make, to create, that if we really had some balance in the types of things that we can all bring to the table, then people would appreciate that and we can prosper. And I'm not seeing that across the board. Even with people who put Black Lives Matter signs up, they're still saying, well, that's good. They should matter in policing, but not in the boardroom. They should matter in, not getting killed, but not when it comes to position of power that I think I should be getting. And so these economic empowerment opportunities that not just centered around Blacks in policing, but also opportunities for our communities, the PPP loans. Why are Black businesses being left out of those things? These are the things that really pain me. And I say, what is it going to take to truly find equity for Black and brown people in this country if it's not going to take a civil rights moment to do it? And so that's something I'm still wrestling with. But I'll tell you, my sisters in love have held me down. If it wasn't for and I really mean it. And I love my men and my brothers, but if it wasn't for my sisters and my mom, I don't think I could really sit here in this moment and talk to you in this way.
Agreed. So your healing came from hanging out with your sisters, calling your mother, having those great conversations. I know, it's amazing.
Honest and authentic conversations where I could be me, I could cry, I can do all of that and not feel weak and vulnerable or that it's going to be used against me.
Absolutely. So ladies, let me share this with you. Can I hang on to you a little bit longer today? I know we were supposed to. Thank you. I feel like this conversation is truncated. Miss Cook, are you still there?
Absolutely. I'm not going anywhere.
Right now in these Wakandan streets. So we're just going to hold on because I think this conversation, there's so many tenets that I'd like to touch on that I don't think I want to end it in 4 minutes. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to hold on to all of you if you don't mind. Denise James.
Yes, ma'am.
The woman who convinced me that I should be doing what I'm doing today. She's like, she says you're a prolific writer. You've got this thing. You need to be on the air. And I looked at her like she was crazy. And then I did what she asked me to do. How are you, my sister?
I am doing fine in the context of what that can be today. I did wake up feeling some of the pain of what George Floyd went through for us, for the needle to move in the way that it has over the last year. And it's not that he's the first person that happened to, but the young lady who took the time to say, I am my brother's keeper and I'm going to stand here and steadily hold this video, this phone, and capture this moment, because we've seen videos where it's truncated, as you say, where you miss a little at the beginning, you miss a little at the end, and it's used as the escape route for the facts, that the facts might be lost in those margins that we can't see. And so I woke up thinking about those things because in addition, of course, to the communication, my path there is journalism. And whenever things happen, you know, like firefighters and police and EMS people run towards things, that's what I did for most of my life. And so I felt in this last year, like initially, like I'm not doing anything because I was not working as a journalist covering stories. I was teaching journalism and mentoring journalists and coaching journalists. And it took a hard few days for me to remember that the way I can not feel so much despair and anger and have that turn into a knot that I can't unwind was to remember to make sure that these kids you're teaching watch what's happening, that they watch that right now the notion of objectivity is being challenged, that objectivity is something that many would argue, and I would as well, is based in a white standard of what's objective. And so when they needed the vision and the voices of people who might have a deeper understanding, a more nuanced understanding of the range of things we were seeing, from quiet protest to initially people breaking into stores, people who understood that were invited to the screen and the page more often than they had been for a long time, since probably the 60s and 70s when they sent folks out to cover the riots. So talking with those folks about their pain on the telephone, in texts, in Zoom chats, was part of what helped me feel okay. Because my Black was tired when this all started. As many of our Black was tired. And I needed to find a way to not have it be about me and my fatigue, but to be about our resilience and our challenge of this fourth estate that has the ability to help keep information in front of us. And so for me, being a part of that mentoring, that coaching has been helpful. Seeing the this rise in community journalism and being able to help, I'm a board member of PhillyCam, being able to support community journalism so that people who are community members and understand things, may not have all those skill sets, can also learn how to tell their stories in the way they see them in their heads. So, and then the last thing I'll say is seeing journalism companies start to have race and culture teams and begin to talk DEI, and for me to be able to be part of symposiums that look at things like covering gun violence without furthering the injury with traumatic approaches to it. All of those things are what help me feel a little balanced. It doesn't sound very woosah, and it probably isn't, and I'll need one after this, but it's what has kept me from losing my mind.
Yes, yes. Janine, are you there?
I'm here.
When you were out in the streets handing out books and trying to help people to understand, because that when you said that, that spoke to me. Part of the issue is that our history is not taught in schools. And so we are kind of waffling in the wind unless we are conscious enough. Now, mind you, traumatized, and now we got to be conscious enough to find all this history that has been hidden or taken away from us. How did you cope as you were moving along the streets trying to help people, give them the data that they needed? What brought you peace and comfort in all of this, if anything?
For me, it's really about the guiding light of Harriet Tubman and thinking about, you know, what Harriet was doing, she was doing with dogs on her back. You know, she was doing at the light of the moon. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I really think about her resilience. I think about her strength. I think about her power. And I know that she's not a superhuman, that she's a human just like myself. And that if she was able to do what she was doing under those circumstances, I definitely can do what I'm able to do.
Yeah, this is... Yeah. Sarita, your clients come into your store, into your salon, and they're getting their hair done. But it is also a place of refuge. Ask me how I know. 99.95% of my friends have been in Duafe, right? How did you handle the conversations? How did your stylists handle the conversations as they were coming in? What did you say to them so that they could talk to the customers when you were allowed to have people back into the store?
Well, you know, my business then turned into keeping people alive. Wow. You know, my business turned into how can I protect the people who came in, the safety plan, making sure that my staff members, I offered them all therapy that I was willing to take care of. I put somebody in front of them that deals with trauma that they can call if they were having challenges. Opening was really hard because now we had one, thank God, an influx of people who wanted to come in because they trusted that we were going to keep them safe. But to experience the people walking in, you want to hug them. You see the pain. You see, we had to extend ourselves in more ways than just doing people's hair. You know, as Black women, you saw us hurt. You saw how we stopped taking care of ourselves because we couldn't. Saw the grief. You saw it, the heaviness. You heard the stories and the abuse that happened to us. The separation of families. Yep. Coming back into a salon, knowing that we are those people's havens to be able to express how they feel, all of it fell on us. So each person, what we did is we offered them either you have an opportunity to talk to us or not. You're the first person who's touching you, and I don't know how long. Yes. You let us know how can we customize this service to make sure you filled up when you hit the door. Right? So that requires something that has that been your experience, Ms. Denise?
Yes, that's what I'm sitting here dying to say, that I just need to say amen. And part of the reason that I believe you are able to do that with such a smooth seam is that it is what you have done all along. That I go to Duafe, and I probably go there less to get my hair done than I go there to get my life tweaked, that I go there to get my life poured into, that I go there to be in an environment that is nurturing and accepts me as I am, no matter how I show up, as long as I'm not hurting other people. And so I know that you've done things for your employees and that you made this a place, Sarita, where it is a safe haven. And so after all we have and still continue to go through, it's a place we turn to for, even if it's a non-touch hug.
Oh, All right, I've got to take another break. Hold on one second. People are texting me all over the place about this conversation. I just want you all to know how powerful it is, right? Because you're coming from your spaces of authenticity, and all of you were chosen because you emanate beauty from the inside out. I can't deal with the folks that are just, they look cute on the outside and can't do anything with themselves. It just doesn't show up in the way they operate with people. So you all were invited to this conversation as a direct result of that. Hold on one second, because we'll be right back. Okay. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back on this Day of Healing conversation after these messages.
Temple University, Philadelphia's public university, was founded on the principle that access to education is a right for everyone. As part of our commitment to inclusive excellence and equity in education, we have invested more than $1 million in anti-racism programming. Our goal is for everyone to feel empowered to be themselves, be open to new experiences, and be a part of solutions to societal challenges. We're proud to provide a supportive and welcoming environment for everyone in the Temple community.
Does your pre-K to 12 student need reliable internet for digital learning? The city's PHL Connected program can help by offering free internet to eligible families. To find out if you qualify, dial 211. For language services, press 8. Learn more at phila.gov/PHL Connected.
Tune into Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, Wednesdays at 12:25 p.m. Eastern Time for Tech Life Steph and the latest digital tips of the week. Brought to you by Comcast.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. The WURD family recognizes the anniversary of the death of George Floyd with a day of healing. Stay tuned throughout the day to WURD Radio, WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, and WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio, streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I can't even look at my phone right now because there's the conversation that we're having during the commercial. Oh, we need to record it. This is some good stuff. If you're just joining me, we're having a conversation around the last year and the healing from George Floyd's killing. Today is the 1-year anniversary of that. In the room with me is Sarita Scott of Duafe Hair Salon, Keir Bradford Gray, who you all knew as who was the chief defender of the Defenders Association. She's now over at Montgomery Cracken, but Hunty McCracken. But I'm trying to tell you, we all want Keir to run for mayor. It was the last thing we do in these streets. And we have Denise James, who you all saw as a reporter on 6ABC for a zillion years. My husband loves her to pieces. And then I have, Miss Janine Cook from Harriet's, the sister who made me buy a pair of high tops trying to support her crowdfunding, and I walked into the airport cool as you please, honey, in my high tops. I just want you to know. So we're continuing the conversation because these sisters absolutely rock. But here's the deal. We need to talk about where are we going from here? Because it's nice to talk about healing, but where are we going from here? Traditionally, we have always looked to black women to save our sorry souls. Isha, let me say that again. We have traditionally, whether we wanted to or not, looked to black women to save our souls. I'm talking Stacey Abrams out of Georgia, who literally had a whole election around the country on her back, and everybody is trying to figure it out. People who disappeared in many corners talking about, I can't do this, these people are too much. We have Keisha Bottoms over in Atlanta, who was sued by the President of the United States, and on and on and on. And so it's nice that we're talking about healing. Like, we want the healing to happen, but what are the expectations? What do you want to see come out of this? Miss Cook, I'm going to start with you first since we can't see you. I wish you were on with us so I can see your face and feel your energy. What are the things you want to see come out of this? That not just, I'm sorry.
So for me, it's really about land and autonomy. That's my focus. My focus is on land and autonomy, because I know that when we have those things, we can make the changes that we wish to see in the world. And we don't have to have anybody else's input on how we want to have healing look in our communities, how we want to fix some of the things that we know are already broken. But you can't do that when you don't own nothing, when you don't have your, you don't really have any stake in the game. We also have Harriet Tubman Day, which is a bill that we've proposed that just got sponsored by Congressman Brendan Boyle. So that's going up before the House and the Senate. So we will have a Harriet Tubman Day, hopefully. And then the other thing that we've been working diligently on is just making sure that, the youth conductors, that they have opportunity to get in, to show what they already know, right? We're putting them in the leadership position. The young people already know a lot of these answers. The young people already have a lot of the energy. And so we're making sure that they're in the forefront of what it is that we're doing, so that, we're not dragging them. They're the ones that are making the constant change.
Yes. See what I mean? So land and autonomy. Harriet Tubman Day. What was the prayer and what day? What was that day?
That's going to be on March 10th.
Of 2022?
Yeah, March 10th, Harriet Tubman Day.
You better. See what I mean? Black women again. While we're moaning and groaning and complaining, black women are in the cut going, okay, so these are the demands. These are the things that we're looking for. Kia Bradford Gray, talk to me. What are you looking for to come out of all of this?
I keep going back to the civil rights moment. And what do we always want in the civil rights moment? To be equally valued and to have equal opportunity and prospering, and that's loaded, right? But when I see that these things keep being centered around policing and police brutality, that's the very basic decency that we're asking for. And it shouldn't take this to get basic decency. But I feel like when we're focused on that so much, we're going to come out with some progress in there, and all the other things that are really bogging us down as women step into leadership roles, higher level positions, but are still devalued, are still misnarrated, and still are treating very differently, even than our white women predecessors that had these same roles. When are we going to have the ability to have our experiences, our culture, valued the same way as the standards, as Denise was talking about, that have been set for us on what a professional is, what you need to be to escalate to certain levels and positions in this country? Those standards need to be dismantled, and we need to have an opportunity to express and accept cultures and diversity in real ways, not just in signs, in t-shirts, in hair, and all of that. And I love hair is a really big piece, and I'm glad that people are being more expressive with their hair, not using the traditional ways of fitting it and assimilating. But we need more than that. And I see it. I'm at Montgomery McCracken Law Firm, and I am happy for the opportunity, but I'm only one of 3 black lawyers in that firm. And so for me, that shows that in this day and age, we still have a long way to go. Bringing me over is great, but until you give me the ability to open the doors for many people that look like me and not like me, but not like the dominant culture, that's when I know that we're moving in a direction that I can say, whew, I can sit down and rest my feet a little bit.
Yeah. What are you looking for, Denise? What are the...
So I'm looking for I'll talk about it from a journalism perspective.
Okay.
Some of the outfits that we've seen develop or come online, like Love Now Media, which is with Josh Duncan, and there are other smaller and some already established Black focused or people of color focused outlets that are more inclusive from hello. And so I'd like to see the continuing support of those. Now, some of that support has been financial and is already starting to wane. I guess last year, right after all of this happened, right after George Floyd's death, there was an increase in the amount of giving to philanthropic giving towards social justice issues. About 50% of what was given was under the umbrella of social justice. It has now come back down. I just saw something this morning. It might've been on CBS. So I haven't vetted this information, but decent source, it's now closer to 5% again for that giving. Wow. So I'm hoping that what has begun does not wane when it comes to that, and when it comes to coverage, that journalists who are fatigued beyond what we can imagine, we probably can think about how fatigued nurses and doctors have been. during the pandemic. And so this has been a journalistic pandemic of sorts. Well, maybe not, I shouldn't compare it that way, but it has been a journalistic challenge where you're always on for the last year. And I hope that even in the fatigue, the focus stays on the things that it needs to stay on when it comes to justice and inclusion and diversity, and opportunity and voice.
Yeah. Sarita, the Crown Act was passed in Congress last year. We've been around since 1619, but all of a sudden our hair is now important. I literally wear my hair blonde in protest of what people expect me to look like. They expect me to have my hair a certain way, that it's not supposed to be this color, that I'm not supposed to stand out with my hair. The devil is a liar and all his minions. And so part of my protest is the way I wear my hair. It's the way I dress, show up to work every day. I'm sitting in front of my computer, but I am dressed to the nines. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so for you, what is it that you're expecting? I mean, you are helping people, helping your clients. What could we do for you? What brought you peace outside of helping other people?
Okay, so Duafe services over 900 people in a month, right?
Say that again. Did you say 900 people?
Monthly, we service over 900 people, right? Wow. And so when honestly, this whole year has been me surrendering myself, making sure that I'm available, making sure that I'm teaching the people around me how to create wealth, life insurance, and everything else. So I'm just securing the people around me, helping repairing their credit. Honestly, I have just walked away from the chair just a couple months ago. This is first time in over 23 years of owning a hair salon where I'm trying to figure out what my remedy is. How can I take care of myself and my needs, which is very hard. So when you ask me as sisters, what can you offer me? I just say, just as being as gracious as you have been, showing the support that you have been, loving yourself like you deserve to. I feel like that self-care is, I will love for us, and I thank God for all the 100 of y'all that walk through my doors. If we can figure out what our core needs are, and if we can start aiding and bedding our emotions and seeing people outside of stylists to help us with our emotional needs, that will be my gift. So my gift is for us all to do better and be better and be happier while we do it.
I had a thought. You might want to shoot me after I tell you this thought. But since they love coming into your hair salon and there's 900 of them coming through every single month, is there a space that you can create for a therapist, to partner with a therapist group that will be in that hair salon, so that when sisters come in, there's a room for them to come into to talk? Because they're not going to miss their hair appointment. They might miss the therapist appointment, right? So if the therapist is in the same spot as the hair folk while they're waiting to get their hair done, go ahead and manage that 30 minutes over.
Holistic service.
Right.
Holistic.
Right. So if we want to talk ultimate goals, what my goal is, and I'm really grateful we were able to purchase the building that the salon is in.
Good.
But the ultimate goal is for us to, what I want is a healing center. You know, I want that space where before COVID hit, I was able to link up with 2 different therapists, and what we were because of COVID was going to do was offer a drop-in time where you had this time and this time to just drop in and you're able to communicate. The challenge is now that we have these social distances, and also that we're getting ready to go through major construction to make that space even prettier for my people. Right? So yes, there will be a time where we're going to have an intimate space where people can come in and drop in. Yes, there will be a time where you can come and get Reiki. Yes, there will be a time where you can come and get all healing work. But we just got to get through our construction for now. So please, watch out. It's coming.
Yeah.
Keep it posted.
Love you all. This whole conversation just made my heart sing. I am opening up the table now to let all 4 of you know, including you, Miss Cook, if she's still there. You still there, Miss Cook?
You know it.
All right, now, here's what we gonna do. give me, not this upcoming week, but the week after, the second week in June, let's find a communal space for the 5 of us to sit down. Okay, and map out how we can support each other in our mental health and wellness, so that we can continue to support the people that are around us. Ms. Scott, I'm going to have you back on tomorrow for a full hour. I need folk to know, if you think you had 900 people now, I'm going to start your prayer engines, because Mova seems to do that to people. So they will be coming through.
Let me tell you, I get my appointments a year in advance. I go ahead and schedule for the whole year.
And we're planning on opening up the second shop in the next year.
You better come on. Now that is how you do business planning. That is how you do succession planning. This is what it looks like. What I ultimately want to do, though, is to pull us all together so we figure out ways to tap into making sure that we fill up each other's reserves. Does that make sense? None of us are going to come in to take away from each other. We're coming in to refill each other. I know I need it. I get up every morning and I'm on that bicycle, y'all. I don't care. Only if Jesus is coming back in the rapture am I not going to miss my bicycle ride, because I need, my mental health requires it, right? And then I'm hiking on Sundays, and the conversations are just absolutely wonderful, and that has helped my soul. But as sisters, we have found spaces where we have lacked, where we have torn each other apart. Let's get real with this, because we think there's not enough room for all of us. And I need us, all of you, the 4 of you are shining examples of what is absolutely possible. What is absolutely possible. So let's set up a plan to do this. Send your contact information to Brianna for me, so that I have Kier, and I have Denise, and I have yours now, Miss Scott. So, Miss Cook, you're the only one. I don't have your contact information. We're going to make some stuff happen.
Yep, you'll have it in a second.
And if you all eat Jamaican food, I would love to invite you into my home so I can make you a Jamaican meal.
I know you didn't say if. You said if? When are you invited?
Okay, because this is a small enough group where we can sit down and really work through without having to go into a restaurant. I can cook my foot off. Do you understand? Okay, so this is going to happen in my home. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this at my home. You're back. Because Karen used to come around the corner. She's going, wait a minute, I know you're cooking something. And she'd knock on the door, step right on in and eat, and step right back on out. Denise, Miss Cook says to tell you she's coming to your store next week, okay?
Yes, she's always welcome. And we still give out a free book to anybody who would like one. So, if you still need something, you don't have a penny or a dime, we have you.
You better. So tell people how to reach you, Miss Cook.
We're at 258 East Girard Avenue. That's where Harriet's Bookshop is. Or you can contact us on any of the social media platforms at Harriet's Bookshop.
Okay, Harriet's Bookshop. Okay. And Sarita Scott, how can people reach you?
You can reach us. We're currently at 3129 North 22nd Street. You can reach us by phone at 267-297-7636. Otherwise, you can catch us on social media at Duafe Hair Salon on Instagram.
All right. So give me the phone number again. 267-297
7636.
7636. And Denise, how can folks reach you if they want to talk to you about getting into the School of Communication?
So djames at temple.edu.
James at temple.edu.
Yes.
And Kier, how can they reach you if they need to get themselves out of a little bit of a sticky situation?
But you know what? It's more than that. If you want to set up a nonprofit, if you want to have executive leadership, legal strategy aligned with your mission and vision, call me or email me at kbgray, that's EY, at mmwr.com.
At mmwr.com. Ladies, thank you. Miss Cook, please make sure you get your phone number over to me quickly so I can manage this. Yes. And let my husband's probably listening going, oh, so I'm about to have 4 women, 4 extremely strong women. He's going to run up to the 3rd floor and we will not see him.
We love John. We love her husband.
He's a good man. He's a good person.
Very.
He is a saint, is what he is. Thank you all so much for being a part of this most important conversation. I'll talk to you all soon, okay?
All right, thank you.
I'll text you when I get off the air. All right.
Love
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye bye. Bye bye. Whew. I need to take a deep breath. That was such a good conversation. Good conversation. So let me do a couple of things. I want to let you know. Wait, Lord, the messages. Brother Sabor, who passed away, who is well known in Philadelphia. I know that the time is short and we're not going to have time to make those phone calls, but when I come back from break between 3:22 and 3:30, I can take a few phone calls in. Also, the NAACP is having their meeting tonight. Go to their NAACP Facebook page. Let me just pull this up so I can show you all, because usually all the things that I would be talking about today, they're having their join them virtually for their monthly general meeting. It's a Zoom meeting, so go to either the Philadelphia Sunday Sun page or the NAACP website page to get the Zoom link, and call 215-455-1011. Again, the NAACP is having their monthly meeting, their monthly general meeting virtually today. Or you can visit their website at naacpphillybranch.org. Let me just tell you. Prince, I know you called and asked, and I wrote this down somewhere. So there is the secretary of the Philadelphia NAACP branch you must call so that you can get your, to talk about your membership, to get that settled, okay? And that person is Shirley Pumpkin Jordan. So reach out to that person to talk about your membership and how you can resolve that issue. Yes, I said I was going to get on it, and I got on it. So when we come back from break today, I want to make sure that all of you, for as much as you can, call in, because at 3:30 I have another guest. I had to bring everybody together to Thursday to kind of compensate, because these conversations that we're having around the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd's killing is very, very, very important, and we needed to make sure that we created the space for that, okay? Did I just lock down all my stuff? Yes, I did, with my crazy self. All right, we're going to break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back. Linda D. Evans, he passed away. We will be right back after these messages.
To move forward as a country, we must do more to address the gap in access to capital for minority-led businesses. At Bank of America, we're increasing our investment in minority-focused equity funds to $350 million to help entrepreneurs establish and grow their businesses, create more jobs, and drive economic stability in our communities. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
In Philadelphia, everyone is reading this year's free library One Book, One Philadelphia featured selection, The Tradition. Jericho Brown's 2020 Pulitzer Prize-winning poetry collection weaves national history with the deeply personal. Youth companion selections include The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo and Hey Black Child by Useni Eugene Perkins and Brian Collier. One Book, One Philadelphia features 8 weeks of programming through June 9th. Visit freelibrary.org/onebook for the full calendar of online events.
The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society supports WURD and presents the 2021 Philadelphia Flower Show, Habitat Nature's Masterpiece, June 5th to 13th, now blooming outdoors for the first time ever at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. Safely enjoy 15 acres of blooming gardens and artful floral displays, shopping, entertainment, and new food and beverage options, including park picnics and beer gardens, taking place outdoors this summer. Tickets and details available at phsonline.org.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Taking your mom on a date. That's right, taking your mom on a date. Would you take your mom on a date during this pandemic time? Where would you take her? Well, here are some suggestions. Don't forget to wear your masks. Take her to the movies. Take her to buy some sexy sunglasses, to get a manicure and a pedicure. Take her to drive in the park and eat some ice cream. Take a little walk through the park, and maybe you'll talk and maybe you won't. What would you like your mom to do as you take her on a date? Well, you might have to say to her, let's have some fun, Mom. Take your mom out on a date, or maybe stay at home for your surprise date. And so I ask you again, where would you take your mom on a date?
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Michael, no one called in, right? So, okay, I'm just going to continue in with our next, George, how are you?
I was getting ready to say, nobody called. I mean, I'm on the line.
He just sent me a text that you were on the line. What's going on, my brother?
You know, I was going out of town this morning. I was going to Atlanta. But I had to like cancel everything, you know, because of divorce. You know, what was going on with him. We don't know. I mean, you know, at some point you got to check out. You know, whatever it was. But
so did he pass away this morning?
Yeah. They had it at the Jihada this morning. You know, they passed him right on. You know, so let me tell you that a lot of people think they know Sabor, but Sabor was a real, like, he was way ahead of his time, you know, and I knew him back when I knew Georgie Woods and all of them. And, you know, the one thing Sabor did that people will never, like, really know, that's what I mean about people tearing down statues and history. You know, it's like, you tear history down, and Sabor probably will and probably not get his credit for black people being in the potato chip business. Him and Georgie Woods, he was the one who took the idea to Georgie Woods about, you know, the whole potato chip thing, you know, and they were very successful. And then I don't know what happened afterwards. And of the second group that came along of black potato chips, they didn't make it as well. But he was the first one who started entrepreneuring African Americans into, you know, to the thing of potato chips. He knew early on that African Americans consumed a lot of it, and it was a big thing. And Georgie Woods pushed that. Not only that, Sabor was one of them hardcore, diehard believing for black people. He just had a real hard faith and belief that black people was decent, good, and they could never do wrong. And when he did find that some would do wrong, you know, he would call in. Then, you know, you think I would, like, really rip him out. You know, he would, like, really rip him out, go to their office, rip him out. In public, he would rip him out. I mean, he had no type of mercy for foolishness of doing people in for, you know, you trying to line your pockets or save your own soul instead of saving your community. So that's things that you learn from him, and you see what he do, and you understood why he did it. A lot of people would say he was harsh in words of how he would say things. He was just he was a no-nonsense person. He would just get right to the point, you know, and usually he would have his facts, you know, there. And he would always bring papers. You know, me, I ain't bringing nothing. I mean, if need be, I will, but he was that type of guy. He would confront you, and he would never confront you privately. He would confront you among your peers or people. That's, you know, like, if he going to call you out, he going to call you out in front of everybody. But he wouldn't call you out for nothing petty. You know, he would call you out because you're doing the community wrong. A lot of people use Brother Sabor, you know, with his kindness and his thing so much for African Americans. And he was just basically a very decent person that it just took certain type of people to understand him. And when you don't be kissing up and wearing purple knee pads and orange lipstick, people don't understand you. You know, if you want to be a clown, you know, then go in the circus, you know, join the circus and get paid. And he wasn't one of them. And he didn't respect or like people who did it, you know, and that's how me and him got along very well because of that. And he was involved in numerous of other things that, you know, but it was always to help the community and to help others. Like elected officials always tried to, like, play him, but they couldn't. You know, he had his picks that he would, you know, work with, and you could trust him. If he spoke good on their behalf, then you could trust him. If not, You can take it to the bank. You know, a lot of people will say these, that, last, you know, but you hear it and you don't hear it, you know. But I'm just telling you what the facts are, what the receipts say. Very decent person, and he called out those who needed to call out. And, you know, I've seen a few of those kiss-ups today, and I say, boy, man ain't even in the ground. You got all these purple knee pad wearing, orange lipstick, you know, here. I mean, how? In what way, you know?
Right.
And you know this man didn't believe in that, yet you show the part of showing up.
Right.
But, you know, some people just have no shame at all, you know, not knowing that he fought hard for black people.
Yeah. Thank you for calling in and giving us that, George. I really needed to hear that before Thursday. I'm going to give people more room to talk about him, but at least I got one in, which was you. Thank you, my brother. I got to move on to finish this day of healing, which I'm sure he would have loved, okay? All right, travel safely. All right, bye-bye. All right, so listen, as we continue this day of healing on the one-year anniversary of George Floyd's killing, we really wanted to make sure you know, we got people on here on The Source that would be able to not just talk about how they experienced this last year, what that was like for them, but how did they help to move the needle forward, and where did their own healing come from? You heard me talking to Janine Cook from Harriet's, Miss Scott from Duafe Hair Salon, Kier Bradford Gray, and Denise James, who was a reporter at 6 ABC for the longest time. Now, Lord Jesus, Lord. Now we have. Oh, Lord. I hope you all are ready, because she's going to give it to you straight. This is Dr. Doreen Laurie. Oh, my Lord. Lord have mercy. Who is the professor of... Her bio reads like... Okay, you know what? I'm not
Don't read the bio.
I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it. Here's what I'm going to do. Tell the people who you are and that you won an award today, madame.
I'm going to be like my friend, oh Lord, I forgot, the angriest black man in America. Michael Kort. I was the angriest black woman at Arcadia. And it's a shame to say that the death of Mr. Floyd made that anger that people have been hearing for 30 years go, oh my, she's telling the truth. She's been telling us this for 30 years, to the point where I'm at Arcadia University, for those who don't know. Today I got recognized for being there for 30 years.
Wow.
Never told me I would have been at anybody's job for 30 years. My mother used to say I was the ultimate person who jumped from job to job. All right. But I saw that at Arcadia, it would be a place that I could make a difference. I had a chance to go to Temple and work as a professor, and I stayed at Arcadia, and it's the best move I ever made. And when I love what you're doing with this, it's a day of healing. I don't think we will ever heal. I think what we do is we may go into a level of remission in some ways. Okay.
Ooh, say more about that.
Yeah, we may go into, because I truly believe with everything in my heart and soul, if we had not been sequestered with COVID, Mr. Floyd's death would have been seen as another. We would have protested and done all those things. But because we could not get out and resume our lives, then the lives of people that people really didn't understand rolled that way. Okay, all right. Now they were able to not just hear it or see it, I meant to say, but because we then had to do this thing called Zoom.
Yes.
And we had to look at each other. And when we are talking, you saw people's emotion, not in a room where you were doing a meeting and all of that. So when I say remission, it was almost as if, well, now this has happened. We're going to sit back. But I already know the hurt and pain I've felt with this because it just brought up too many memories of, I was 7 or 8 when Emmett Till was killed. Okay, I go back that far. But for what I think has been the most, and I hate to use the word exciting, but I am, Because when all of this happened, and apparently Arcadia got the memo that there was racism in the world, okay? And all my white colleagues got the memo that there was racism in the world. And God bless the president. God bless Jay Nair, because he kind of sat down himself and had to make some decisions. One of the ones that he made that I said to him, I would stay on board. Instead of doing all those words like inclusive, diversity, I said, nah, this is about anti-Black racism. And that is the initiative that we have been working on, the Anti-Black Racism Initiative. Now, just because we got the name didn't mean it was going to go that easy. And I saw that where I had colleagues who were a little shocked. I talked to them. I did not need one more crying white person calling me. I said, I don't need to hear your tears. You know, with Doreen, I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing. None of us know if we're doing the right thing, but you got to be in the game. Yes. And if you're in the game, be willing to listen and learn. And what we saw, it was what I call the but word. I hear you, Doreen, but. I hear you, my sidekick is Dr. Fabian Martin, Fabian, but. And that's the fight that we have been constantly doing, is people of color are telling you, this ain't working, this isn't right. Let's try this initiative. And then we get all these midnight emails, and then we get all this conversation. And I'm like, nah, no more conversation. No more discussion about certain things. I'm never going to say my way is the highway is right, but I have a lived experience that I can inform you with. And if you're not willing to listen to that lived experience and 30 years on that damn campus, okay, then you don't want to do this work. And 3 or 4 times I said no more, and I would walk away. People would call and say, we got to do this, and it's for the students. Because I knew. I have to admit, we've made some strides, and they would have never, ever happened. No one will ever convince me it would not have happened without Mr. Floyd's death.
Wow.
And that to me is very sad, because nothing that Judy Dalton and myself, and we have been doing this for 30 years. But now people see that, well, the Black students, they're having a tough time, because I said, do you know what I used to do? On Fridays, I would walk around campus, peek into classrooms, and there may be 1, maybe 2 Black students, especially in the sciences. And I would just peek my head in, always knew the professor, make sure I'd wave. And the students would literally come and say, they would leave the classroom and say, who are you and where are you? I didn't know there were any Black professors on campus. And I'd tell them where I was, and they would come over and talk about their grievances. Angela and I and some more, we would get together. I mean, we literally made sure that their grievances were heard, that they were heard. We did a shutdown one year. I mean, we had a day of silence. And I think from that point on, people started listening. But I'm telling you, this whole murder of Mr. Floyd, the reality of seeing America's foot on the neck of a Black person, not understanding that that was historical, that wasn't nothing new to us, it was just seen. It was just seen. And
let me ask you this, though, because I have to, listen, you are brave. I want to be you when I grow up. Lord, everybody keeps telling me I shouldn't want to do that because I'm already half you. Because I speak my truth. I'm loving and kind in speaking my truth, but I'm speaking my truth and I'm standing up. How did you last 30 years in an institution where all of this was going on, where I have run into Black folks who say, I'm not rustling the boat, I got to make a living, I can't. I often wonder, and I don't know if this is the immigrant part of me, I often wondered how much further we would have gotten ahead if more of us stood up and said no more.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I've always introduced myself at public. You've been there at things and said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Doreen Lowry. I'm the crazy Black woman on campus." Because one thing I learned very early is in speaking my truth, I knew the chances I was going to take. I also had enough sense, and you know this because you're right there with me, to make a niche for myself. The Black Male Symposium, you know, that put Arcadia on the map. Okay, I was able to bring Cornell West, Michael Eric, you name it, I've had them at Arcadia. Okay, local artists, making sure programming. We brought in, oh my Lord, oh Lord,
Trayvon Martin's father.
Trayvon's dad.
Talib Kweli and Common's mom were there.
Common's mom, okay.
Yeah, they were all there.
We did an but here we did the first expungement clinic
in Montgomery County.
Okay, at Arcadia. So I knew these were things I would have done no matter where I was. But I was literally testing the boundaries of Arcadia. And I said, and when my husband was alive, there were days I came home and said, might not have a job tomorrow.
Doc, I said the same thing to my husband. Well, might not be working there anymore. He said, what did you do now?
Many a time. All right. Many a time. Okay. And he would say, I got you. That's why I loved him. He said, because he knew I'd go out and get a secretarial job. I'm that kind of sister. Okay. All right. And he said, I said, man, so what happened? I said, well, the woman told me not to apply for the grant. I ignored her. I had the president sign off, and they just made it public that we got the largest grant ever at Arcadia. And the woman called me in her office and said, you did something you weren't supposed to do. I said, the president signed off. And that's why I love Betty Landman, because she's such a good woman. My mother always told me, if you're doing right, people are going to be messing with you.
Come on now. Come
on
now.
If you're doing wrong, she said, all you're going to do is hurt your soul.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So I just said, I'm a child of the 60s. I'm here to help these kids, these young folk. I'm my other colleagues and to mentor people. Okay? And that's how I did it. I said, well, if they get rid of me, I don't think they'll let me go out of here quietly. Okay? And I ain't stole no money.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to really figure out why you're getting rid of them.
Right. And that was the thing, the agitating piece. I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I want you to talk about what has happened to your soul in this last year and how you found healing. Okay? Hold on 1 second, Doc. This is some good stuff, man. I don't even know. What am I doing here? This has been a good show. It felt like it was 20 minutes long. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That is WURD.works.com and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Hi, WURD family. My name is Kim Hall Jackson, and I am a colorectal cancer survivor. If I can convince one person to get a screening, then I know my voice is making a difference. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner and get your Fit Kid test today.
WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp to provide a free at-home screening test for colon cancer. All WURD listeners can register for a free at-home screening test as a part of the Go to Know campaign. This campaign is designed to provide African Americans with free testing for early colon cancer screening. Colon cancer can be prevented. And early detection saves lives. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to request your free test today.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for June is Taught by Women, Poems as Resistance Language by Hakeem Adabudi. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, June 8th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, this is the 25th anniversary. My God. It's the first year anniversary of George Floyd's killing, and this just in from CNN. Democrats confirmed Kristen Clark on Tuesday as the first black woman to lead the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, a historic step that would come on the anniversary of George Floyd's killing, and after a vitriolic campaign by Republicans over her stance on policing. The vote was 51-48, with Senator Susan Collins as the only Republican voting for her confirmation. Clark's confirmation breaks barriers in the department that was established in 1957. First black person leading the Civil Rights Department. I just, whew, Lord, I tell you, this is the part where I laugh. My husband said to me the other night, if you decide that you want to go back to Jamaica, I'm coming with you. Wherever you go, I'm going with you, baby. I said, well, thank you, Lord, because this is a bit much for my soul some days. I was not raised this way. And this constant suppression and oppression is a lot. It's a challenging thing. How did you, we have 6 minutes left. How did you find your space of healing, or have you, in this last year?
We actually just had something maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at Arcade talking about the past year. It has been a tough one doing the work that we've been doing. I took my teaching load down so that I could concentrate, which that's not me, but if I'm going to do this, then I can't teach 3 classes. And I said something in this very large meeting, and some people were very concerned and upset. And I said it has been the worst and the best year that I've had in the 30 years I've been there. And they were like, wow, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, the worst is, I saw that people had to skip a jump rope. And, a lot of people wanted to do a lot of skipping and a lot of performance. And I got tired of being the one in the room that was saying, no, that really isn't what we're about. That's not what we should be doing. Or why are we doing this? I said it got to the point where I felt like I was beating up people at every turn. Then I would get some good advice from people, and I had some good people that, who were there, African women. We had a group every Tuesday. We met at 12 o'clock. And that saved my soul. That saved my soul. And we knew how to talk to each other, and we strategized. So that was what saved me. But the work with some of the people who I thought, I'm not naive, but I thought they were woker than they were. You know,
as we say in Jamaica, when I catch quack, you catch him shut. You hear? And
yes.
so oftentimes people show up in a way that you try to believe them, but there's a little niggling thing in the back of your head that says they're saying all the right things, they're doing all the right things, they're showing up in their kunte kente cloth, but something isn't quite right. And it always takes something like what happened in the last year with all the protests around the country to show. I mean, I had white students calling me going, Miss Sanders, my parents have lost their minds.
Yes.
And really just not wanting to be in their homes, but they were stuck there because of COVID, because they were like, my parents are behaving like we're back in 1942 and that black people should know their place. And I am in a college or I'm in a school district where I spend most of my time around my black peers, and they're nothing like what is being projected about them. You know, I've watched white children stand up in the gap for their black students in this last year unlike anything I had ever seen in my life, calling out teachers and saying, you didn't punish me when I did twice as bad as my black peer did. I mean, it was just amazing. So we focus on police and we focus on George Floyd's killing, but listen, the killing has been happening in schools, in workplaces, all over the place. Y'all don't put this on the police and think that this is just everything that's happening right now is a direct result of learned behavior for generations and generations. So it's nice that y'all want to talk about the police, but I'm telling you, the police are human beings, and there's a whole lot more going on out here than meets the eye. Let's just talk about it and be about it, shall we?
And also it was, again, you know, and I know the buzzwords, but the microaggressions were so there that literally I was sitting there one day like this. Person was talking and I said, you need to stop. Because do you understand what you're saying is so offensive? And they I don't know what you're talking about, Doreen. And I had to lead them down that path.
Yep.
And then I got upset. I said, so I'm the only one here that heard this, right? So
and then
one
you get
of
the tears, the doctor, that you get the tears, you're hurting my feeling. I feel like you're being aggressive towards me.
Oh, yes. Well, I was told I was aggressive. I was aggressive. And so the person called me and we talked. And they said, well, I was in such tears because I just couldn't believe you were willing. You said that. And I said, sweetheart, what you really don't know is I said it nicely. I said, I was so upset about how you put this to me, this group, when I've been doing this work, you know, all these years, and you're now going to drudge up some of my ideas and push them out
in front of your face as if they weren't your ideas.
And you thought I wasn't going to say anything? Okay. And so it's been that kind of a year where I learned a lot about myself, I learned that I was not good at holding this grief in, because there would be periods, and some of it may have been, you know, the menopause, may have been just world, maybe being sequestered in the house, but there were periods where of such grief would come over me. And I had to shut the news down for a while because I'm a news junkie. I had to shut it down. But the grief I figured out was the fear I had for my grandsons, my son-in-law, my friends. I went, oh my God. I heard something the other day that it really got me. And it said, how in the world do you expect us to be able to be people in a world that hates us? And I remember, and I sat there and I went, how do you do that? How do you actually, and then I said, oh, the people that hate us are the ones that hate themselves. So that made me rethink that, because I wanted to rethink that language. I was like, I'm not buying that language. Okay. I'm saying white folks, some white folks have never embraced us. Systemically, we've never been embraced. Otherwise, you wouldn't have just had to announce the first black.
Can you imagine in 2021? And there's still a whole lot of firsts yet to be recognized, because it's coming. First this and first that and first, and as if we're supposed to tap dance and say, thank you, Massa, for making us the first. This is so much.
And that's the part too that I really went very clear when I talked with Arcadia, when now we got this and this and this. And I'm like, you know, I made them go back to a document that was 10 years old. I said, if you go back to the diversity document that the black man who was here at that time, we all worked on, this language is still there. I said, I'm not working on something when you've already got language.
Right.
Somewhere
That you just have not put into practice.
You haven't put into practice. So that rubbed people the wrong way, of course. I came back from surgery. I made them do that. Brought me in to do all that. I said, no. I remember looking across the room to Judy Dog going, where is the document from 10 years ago? Okay. Why are we doing this? I don't have this kind of time. My neck hurts. I mean, all right. I mean, so it's again, they're doing all this planning and let's do better and all this, and it's falling on deaf ears.
But because Dr. Lori, it's wrapped up in meetings. You see, it's designed to be wrapped up in a bunch of meetings where nothing happens and they can say, but we're planning to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to take us a year to write out the policy code and procedures. And then when you're finished writing all the policy codes and procedures and nothing happens from there. I mean, we've seen it all. I want to thank you because we have to now get off the air. You have been amazing. Problem. Thank you. Congratulations for 30 years at Arcadia. I know they will not get another 30.
They're not even going to get 2.
Listen, come on now. All right, Dr. Lori, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much,
all right,
my
dear.
sister.
Take care, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We have a couple of minutes left, and to the WURD listeners, I want to thank you for being gracious today in not calling as much as you possibly could because you saw the conversation that we were having around this day of healing. I want to take this time to personally thank Joss Duncan. And I don't know, I mean, I think I have told her this, but right around the end of August, early September of 2020, I literally had a meltdown. Only person I could think I think I texted Joss, and then she called me. She said, are you okay? I said, I'm not okay. And we got to talking, you know. And so it is very important to have those vulnerable spaces. Have someone that you can talk to. And when you're thinking of doing the wrong thing to the right people, think again. Just stop and say, how would that make that person feel? Because I'm just thinking about myself. What can I do differently? How can I act and react in another way other than just thinking, well, it's all about me and I'm going to get mine and all of that? Nothing is changing as a direct result of it. You see what I'm saying? And if we can find ways to stand up and work with each other and work with those who want to be allies and agitators, because there are plenty of white folks in this country, I'm telling you, I've had those conversations too. Plenty of white folks in this country that says, we know this isn't right. We have spent generations getting what we didn't earn, and we're trying to figure it out, but it is hard to shift. When you see folks driving their Mercedes and living in their $50,000 mansion, 50,000 room mansion, and understanding that they have to share this wealth, quote unquote. They have to share spaces. They have to share accolades. They have to share job postings. They have to share CEO positions. They have to share board positions. All of that takes its toll. And so folks who have the best intention will start to pull back, right, and push on and try to find excuses why this wouldn't work. It's been a year. It's been an incredible year. Lots of us have suffered. Many of us have found ways to heal. And so as we move from this day and move into Nick Taliaferro and continue to move for the rest of the day on WURD Radio as we talk about the healing that we are embracing in this country, I also want to thank my black brothers. All of you. You know, you called in here. I love on you. I talk to you. You know, I honor you, because what we tend to miss a lot of the times is that you take the brunt. It's your backs that are constantly being broken. It's your backs that are we're screaming and crying to help you. So thank you for your patience with us as we try to figure this out and move around in this thing called life. Coming up next is Nick Taliaferro with Evening Words. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you, Michael. Goodbye.